Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Life is Strange Blackwell Academy reunion. My name is Elise, and today I will be reuniting the class and catching them up on everything Life is Strange. I am a huge fan. 2015 for me was the year of Life is Strange. I waited for every new episode, did a spoiler cast, breaking them down. I love it. I am so into the characters and the story and the world and finding parallels in my own friendships, minus the time traveling part. Before we get into it, I want to remind you that we are raising money for the charity Checkpoint. If you've never heard of them, Checkpoint is a charity that provides mental health resources for gamers in the gaming community. Their mission is to raise awareness for mental health issues, reduce the stigma, and improve well-being in the community. Checkpoint is run by both mental health and games industry professionals to ensure the information they provide is accurate, relevant, and implementable. Checkpoint has provided free resources on mental health for anyone looking to investigate it, and you can check that out at the link below. And you can also donate to their cause, and you can do so by visiting the link below in the description. It's tiltify.com/checkpoint. Now's the time where I warn you that there will be potential spoilers during the reunion. So if you're new to Life is Strange, please beware. Just go play it now. Just before we even get to it, then come back and watch the cast reunite. All right, let's introduce the cast. First up is Telle, who plays Max. Hannah, could you join me on the call?
Hi, Elise. It's so great to meet you.
It's so great to meet you too. Thank you for coming here to help me reunite the Blackwell Academy class of 2013.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's my pleasure.
I am a huge fan of Max. I think she is the consummate artsy soul. Do you kind of identify with that?
Absolutely. I love how Max is really influenced by music, whether she's just listening in her headphones as she's walking around, giving her world a soundtrack, or if she's playing her guitar in a moment of calm. I really relate to that.
You have a beautiful friendship with Chloe in Life is Strange. I can't imagine two characters that exemplify that kind of relationship between, teen girls. Do you want to help me introduce our next guest?
Yes, I would love to. She's amazing, the one and only Miss Ashley Burch, voice of Chloe Price.
Hello.
Hi. Hey, Ashley Burch.
Hi. Hi, Elise Willems. Hi, Telle.
Hello.
It's nice to see both of you.
You too.
When was the last time that you two saw each other?
When was that? Oh. Was that when we did that live stream at
I think so.
Eons ago? I think that was the last time I saw you.
Farewell live stream in 2018. Yeah, I think that was the last time. That was fun.
Wow.
That was fun.
So a while. Could either of you have imagined the impact this game would have had on, I guess, your careers, and also just the fact that fans are clamoring to see a reunion?
Oh, it's pretty surreal.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how you feel, Hannah, but I had no idea that it was going to be as popular as it was. I know we liked it a lot, but you just never know when you're recording something, if people are going to respond to it the way you're responding to it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I agree. We had no idea, but it was a really incredible surprise.
Do a lot of fans come up to two of you at conventions or just in public and say, like, it's Chloe or it's Max?
Yes, I think I think Chloe might be the thing that people approach me about the most. People have just emotionally attached so much to these characters.
Definitely. I relate to that too. I think that people feel really emotionally attached because they can relate really heavily to these girls, and I think it's pretty cool.
I know for me personally, the friendship that Max and Chloe have in the game is one that I look back at friendships I had when I was in high school. And, you have that best friend and you do anything for each other. And it's so special. Did the game change your perspective? Being so close inside that friendship, did it change your perspective on friendship?
It was really, for me, I think the thing that's really cool about Max and Chloe is that, they kind of take the idea of found family to sort of like a whole new level because of the choice at the end of the game. They're really having to reckon with this idea of who they have the most love for and who they have the most connection with, and especially, cat.
Oh, yes. There will be cats.
But yeah, just the idea that, like, and especially when you're young like that, the bonds that you make, they're so strong because you're going through such tremendous, like, emotional, physical changes together.
Yeah, I feel like revisiting my youth and the relationships that I had at that time in order to prepare for this part, it really showed me how crucial those people were in my life that now that you're older, maybe you didn't realize. But when you're young and you're going through so many intense evolutions, you really become adhered to that person that seems to get you the most. And I think it's a very beautiful relationship.
Yeah, and what you're talking about being that age and just going through a lot and having a lot that's just brought on you. There's one particular character in the game that stands out to me, and that's Kate Marsh. She, obviously is dealing with a lot. And we have Kate Marsh herself, Dayeanne Hutton, here to join us today, too. Dayeanne, you want to come on out here?
Oh,
she's got a Hawt Dawg Man.
I do. I bring joy with me.
We're gonna get to Hawt Dawg Man later in the show, but I love that you have a life-size, representation of Hawt Dawg Man.
I do. I do also have the Fan Gamer one recently released because you can never have too many Hawt Dawg Men.
Welcome, Dayeanne. You have a distinction of not just being Kate Marsh in Life is Strange, but also playing a few other characters, Alyssa Anderson and Juliet Watson.
Yes, those are my ladies.
And from what I read, you didn't actually see any of the character models for any of these characters before you played them.
No, I didn't. I'm pretty sure Phil told me that Alyssa had purple hair, but that's all I got.
Did that matter for you going into these characters?
No, not really, because I had Kate's character description, and then Phil did an amazing job of kind of filling me in on what I needed to know about their personalities, and then himself directing me the way everyone wanted me to go.
You did an amazing job, because I had no idea prior to this reunion that you played all three of those characters.
Thank God. It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell when it's your own voice. I was like, oh no, those all sound the same. That's terrible. I'm terrible. What's wrong with me? So it's relief to hear that.
No, you were amazing. And while we're talking about multiple characters, I do feel like we're missing a few more people. And one man can reunite all of those characters for us in one shot. Please welcome Nick Schreiner to the reunion.
Hey, I didn't know if you were talking about me. Is this my cue? Hi, everybody.
Hi, Nick. We are welcoming not only Nick Schreiner, but we're also welcoming Nathan Prescott, Daniel DaCosta, Trevor, and Luke Parker. Trevor, no last name. He's just Trevor.
I thought maybe for a second they were brothers or something. Trevor and Luke partner? I didn't realize that. Are they fraternal twins? Cousins, maybe?
Hi, welcome. Yeah, like Dayeanne, I had no idea that you were, doing so much work in this game.
I had no idea either. I would just get told that in the waiting room. You're also going to do a French guy who may be from Spain. We're not quite sure where he's from.
And you said, no problem. I got it.
So that's where Daniel came from.
You definitely pulled it off. Another thing you pulled off was playing probably the most punchable character in the game, and that's Nathan Prescott, who is just a real piece of work. How did that feel? Because, he's just terrible the entire game, and then toward the end, you have this somewhat redeeming moment when he leaves Max the voicemail.
Somewhat redeeming. I like that.
Yeah.
It came natural. It was too easy for me. I'm just
no.
Kind of space.
No. Entitlement, self-centeredness. It oozes from me. No, I felt like the bad people don't know that they're bad people. They're just doing their best. And I think the same for Nathan, that he grew up in the circumstances he had, and that was just the way it was for him. And that was the way, his personality came out, is that he deserved everything for nothing.
I have to say, when you listen to him delivering that voicemail at the end, the way that you pull off that performance, you almost feel a little bit sorry for Nathan Prescott.
It was really fun to see how the fans changed their point of view on him as the episodes got released, and that fifth and final bow for him brought people around. So it was nice that I'd go from getting hate mail to getting love letters. I'm sorry for everything I said about Nathan. He's just misunderstood.
Wow. I feel like Ashley Chloe is a pretty conflicted character like that too. You know, she's a good kid, but that just has had a lot happen to her that's shaped her.
Yeah, that's kind of the special thing about this game, I think, is that there aren't really, I mean, apart from one guy who we'll probably meet later, there's not really any like villains. It's mostly just people are complicated and they've gone through difficult things and they're sort of navigating life the best that they can. Nathan included.
We're going to get to some of these more hard-hitting questions that I'm asking, I promise. But before we do that, I do think, you know, you're all just a bunch of unruly teenagers in the game, not in the sequel. Sure. I'm doing like an RP like world here. And I do think that we need somebody to keep this class reunion in check. And there's no one other than the bad boy of Life is Strange. That's Derek Phillips.
Bum bum bum.
Yeah, there would be an evil music sting here.
Hi.
Hi.
How's everybody doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. Good. You hear me? All right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I feel like I have to apologize first and foremost for everything.
You should.
This is with me here.
Oh no.
So anyway.
Yeah, I feel like I remember reading that they wrote the character of Derek Phillips one way, and then you came in and said, no, make him more evil.
I don't know about that. I do know when I auditioned for it, I auditioned straight-laced is Mr. Jefferson, and then I feel like a week later or something like that, I had to audition as like some psychopath. And then when we were actually doing the game, they didn't actually tell me that I was, the big heavy until I think the end of the fourth episode. But I had asked, but they weren't telling me. And I think that's a good move because I don't think that we wanted to give anything away. But I do remember auditioning for it, thinking, am I going to get to do this? The fun part?
Did they say it was the same character? Or did they just say,
Yeah.
Did they act like they were bringing you in for a different character?
No, they said it was the same character, but it was one of these situations where they were trying to say it could have been anyone. We're not sure who the big bad guy is at the end. It could be you. It could be anybody. I had put myself on tape for it or auditioned for it, and with Mr. Jefferson is the evil bastard that he is, and but I wasn't sure if I'd ever get to do that until the fourth episode.
So you had no idea in those first 4 episodes. You were just playing it like he's kind of a good guy teacher. He talks to the students after class.
Yeah, and I think that was a smart move. Yeah, but I think it was a smart move on Phil's part and everything else. It's like he's just a cool guy. He's just a good, cool, down-to-earth teacher, gets along with his students. And so there wasn't any kind of ulterior motive or anything else, But I think that's great because the audience won't see it coming. And I don't think a lot of people saw that coming. I mean, there's obviously some smart people out there who did, but yeah.
Yeah, to everyone else in the cast, how did you feel when you learned the Jefferson reveal?
I just found out right now.
Yeah, sorry about that, Nathan.
It's okay. It's okay. It turns out it's not all about me.
I feel like I didn't know until I played the game. I'm trying to remember. I'm like trying to go back in the memory bank, and I'm like, I feel like I still didn't even know when I recorded the last bits of the game that it was who was involved for my trauma.
Yeah.
I remember being very surprised.
Yeah, I remember. I think so too. The sort of fun thing about recording this game is that I feel like we sort of experienced it a little bit as players because when you came in on the day, you're like, you're going to find out this really pivotal piece of information. And because I think we were all invested in the story, it was a bit like, what? Like we had a reaction probably that you would have as a player, but right before we started recording the scenes, which was kind of cool.
Like, I had no idea what was going on. I remember recording like the help me lines and turning to Phil and being like, what is happening in this game? What just happened? Like, it was normal high school and now there's a strange storm? I don't understand.
That's the interesting part to me because I really think that this game could have existed just as the story of Max and Chloe and what's going on with Mr. Jefferson. And then the whole added element of there's a storm that's threatening Arcadia Bay. Like that's just kind of even the cherry on top. You don't necessarily need the storm to tell this story.
Yeah, that's sort of, I mean, it is interesting how it's such a well-told story that without the sci-fi or like time rewind element, you could just at least I could just play the game happily as like sort of an indie drama about teens, you know? But then, like you said, with that sci-fi element on top, it adds like a whole other layer to the story.
You're absolutely right. I would happily play this as just a story of these teens in a weird small town, without the time mechanic. So you must all know this, but fans around the world are still talking about Life is Strange. I see a ton of new fan art cropping up for it, and just kind of like, you know, there's always a new compilation on YouTube or some homage that someone's paying to the game. What do you think that the main draw of the game is, that it has this lasting power?
I think that it has to do with the intense relationship between Max and Chloe, but also between all of the characters. There's so many really intimate interchanges that happen that are very cinematic and beautiful to watch, and it really is hard not to be moved by what these characters are facing and how they are trying to come together to navigate this difficult, crazy situation that's taking place. And I think that people see themselves in the characters, and people also get really into the fact that their decisions can change the outcome of the game. So I think all around it just lasts and has an impact on people that doesn't just fade very quickly.
I'm feeling emotional after that. That was beautiful, Hannah.
Yeah, that was
Very eloquent.
Absolutely. I think the fact that you were able to inspire that kind of reaction and empathy in people is a testament to just how well you all delivered your characters. And I have to say, just for me, it's surreal being on this call, and it's weird listening to all of you because you're amazing voice actors. And that's exemplified in the fact that I'm listening to you all and I'm like, well, I kind of hear Chloe, or I kind of hear Mr. Jefferson, but you all clearly put on a perform. Like, it wasn't just you, this is my voice, I'm going to read some lines, you know, hey, Dayeanne here, just reading the script. Like, you all put performances into your delivery, and it's blows my mind. It's wonderful. So kudos to you all. And on that subject, is there a scene or line that you remember from the game that you look back at fondly or proud of, or, you know, maybe even it was just a tough scene to get through?
I've got one in particular that I love, and it's just because it's so awful. And it happens early on in the game, and it's one of those when you go back and look at it, you go, oh. But it says, I could frame any one of you in a dark corner and capture you in a moment of desperation. And at the time, you're just like, whatever, Mr. Jefferson, you know, waiting for that class to be over with. And then you go back and you go, oh, that's creepy.
Yeah, that is creepy.
Watching him in the early episodes, you kind of think that he's just this self-important, pretentious art guy. And later when you listen back, you're like, oh no, he was much creepier than that. Dayeanne, you have some pretty powerful scenes as Kate, especially on the rooftop. Was that tough to record?
Yeah, I would say that bit is most memorable for me, but almost retroactively, because like on the day I just went in and I did my job and I like had a good time like acting with Hannah and doing this part. But I feel like the reward came once the game came out. And like you said, like all these people connected in a way that not even the devs knew they were going to connect with her. And I had so many people messaging me like, just this stopped me from going down a dark path, and like, thank you so much. And I was blown away because like I said, I just went in to do my job, and I'm like, wow, okay, this really had an impact. And that threw me for a while. I just had to like kind of sit there and be like, okay, I was not expecting this.
Yeah, and I guess that actually raises a question that I have. Did many of you record scenes together, or were there any of you that just recorded completely solo?
I think
that was
Hannah and I recorded together a lot. I think for the pivotal emotional scenes, they wanted to make sure that we were always together so that we could, you know, be able to react off of each other, which was really nice. I think that might have been my first experience as a voiceover actor, being able to record with other people, which is, it's always really nice when you can do that, because your job, I mean, you have to be able to do your job in isolation. But when you have the other actor there, it really provides, it makes your job easier. And sometimes, often, if your scene partner is Hannah, who is great, it makes it really fun.
The majority of my stuff was alone, but I did get 1 or 2 days with Hannah, and Danny Knight and I also recorded some stuff together. But it's just like Ashley was saying, it's just such a welcome change when you actually have that other actor in the room. I mean, they say that acting is reacting. So when you've got that other person to work off of, and that other person is as good as Hannah is, it makes your job so much easier, you know? So it was really cool just to have that opportunity. And we got a cool picture of it too, I think. A cool, creepy picture with me like looking over Hannah's shoulder.
Yeah. I got to record do dual recording sessions with almost everyone on the cast, and it was so crazy to see how everybody does their character and has their process, especially Derek and Nick, who have to go to such dark places, and to be in the room with them while they're doing that. It's really, really cool.
I wanted to ask Derek and Nick, was it tough for you? Is it tough when you do kind of a scumbag or, evil character, like Nathan and Mr. Jefferson, to then go home and feel like you need a shower?
For me, no, I love it. Look, there's different types of actors, and I think that there are some people that are outside in and some people that are inside out. And what I mean by that is that I think that there's a million different characters in each one of us. And while I've never killed anyone, I've been in rush hour traffic in Los Angeles. And that urge,
that hate.
That's the joy of being an actor, is I get to explore
Absolutely.
that,
So I like Derek. I like it too. I really love exploring the humanity, even the dark nooks and crannies, because I feel like in my normal life, I'm super grateful and joyful and like happy to help people. And so to get to like look at the parts that are like kind of, the parts of humanity and of ourselves that we don't normally like to look at, or aren't so pretty, or that, aren't as fun. It can be a relief. I can walk out of there feeling like I let go of something.
I have a few fun questions for you guys. If you had Max's rewind power, what would you use it for? Or, have there been any embarrassing situations that you wish you could rewind? Or, maybe just a regret, like, I regret taking this role in Life is Strange. Because now I'm the villain on the internet.
No, I don't regret that at all.
I've burned a lot of cookies and a lot of toast over the years.
Yeah.
So I would like I'd like to just, be able to get the toast just right to where it's crispy, but not overly crispy. I had these amazing cookies just last week that went black on the bottom. If I could just a little bit, I'd love to bring.
I think that's the
back.
Perfect use of it. I wouldn't want to change anything detrimental to the timeline and rip apart the fabric of time. But yeah, I agree. Maybe you want to eat that ice cream again, but you're full. Let's just rewind and go again.
You guys are so responsible. I'm like, I would go back and I would not date that guy and I would go to a different thing. And you guys are like, I don't want to tear apart space-time. I'm like,
That's a good segue to my next question, which is, knowing what you know now, what advice would you give to your high school selves or college selves?
Oh my God.
Which you've all done a really great job of kind of embodying, adolescence. So I don't know if it still feels close to you or not.
Yeah, I think I would tell myself to not question my individuality, instead embrace my unique tastes, because that's what's going to shape me into becoming the adult and that I'm going to become. And I think that it's just important to realize that every step you take is part of a greater evolution, and that if you just give yourself a chance, that things are going to turn out in a way that you come out smelling like a rose. I feel like things always end up working out when you get a little bit older and you get a little bit of perspective, that you feel like, okay, I see why I was this way, and it was okay. So maybe I would just tell myself to chill and relax and give yourself that time to realize who you are.
Awesome.
Hannah, again for the win.
Yeah.
I know. I just want her on like a recording and like listen to
Yeah.
her and like meditate and be like, okay, positive vibes. Thank you.
Yes. Dayeanne, were you going to say more Hawt Dawg Man?
Find the Hawt Dawg Man. He's gonna be big. No, I would tell myself, I think, to say yes to more things and stop being so afraid of doing something different. I like a little bit like what Hannah said, like don't be afraid to like go to that different school because it has the theater program you want, or don't be afraid to like audition for that thing because you really want to.
Do you have any lasting or standout memories from your VO sessions, or even just from conventions, or maybe somebody's sent you a piece of fan art or a note about how the game impacted them?
Yeah, I think I get a lot of people talking about how much the game meant to them. And then also, I think, kind of like what Dayeanne was saying, I think when people resonate with your particular character's story or arc, I think this game helped a lot of people to not feel alone. I think that's, when you're young, you can feel alone a lot. I think there's something about like, high school, growing up is just hard, or you just don't have a larger perspective, or maybe kids just aren't as vulnerable with each other. So often you can kind of feel like you're the only person in the world that feels the way that you feel. And I think this game did a really great job of showing people that they're not alone. And so anytime that someone's reached out to me and said that the game or Chloe made them feel seen, has been really, really meaningful to me. And I think also because Chloe is a queer character, that's another huge part of it, is that I think there's another layer of not only as being young hard, but being young and queer is super hard. So having a character that represents that for people, I think has been really meaningful. And knowing that, we have really good jobs. We get to play for a living, and sometimes it kind of feels like, at least for me, I'm kind of getting away with something. Like, to sort of be reminded that like, oh, these things impact people, the things that you do, the things that you put into the world, the performances that you make, the things that you write, they have an impact. And they're important. They're important to people. And I think this game, more than a lot of the other stuff that I've worked on, has really had that place in my life. As like, this game has really changed people, really helped people. So it's really meaningful to me for that reason.
I think what you said, Ashley, is right on point. That there's a whole group of people that have played this game and they feel like they've been seen. And I mean, it kind of goes back to the previous question, about high school and what you may change about that moment, or if you had advice for yourself when you were younger. And part of that for me was also like, don't be so concerned about what other people are thinking about you. And I think that's kind of the thing that we're all kind of highlighting in this. I feel like junior high and high school, it was like everyone's looking at me, and the reality is they're not, so don't be afraid to be you.
There's a great moment in the game when Victoria and Max are talking, and Victoria, she says to Max, I admire that you don't care what people care because I care a lot. And it's kind of a heartbreaking moment when you're listening to Victoria say that.
If I could go back and what Victoria was experiencing in the game towards Max about, like you have this freedom that she was jealous of. And it's like, that's what if I could go back in time, I would focus more on my education and really get as much as I could out of like, the whole point of school is to learn. It's like, what? Like, I mean, all I was focused on was like looking cool and French kissing, ideally at the same time. And I would love that.
Now to see who has the best memory in the cast. And Hannah might have an advantage in this one, but this is sort of a little trivia question to see how much you actually remember. What is the name of the process that gave birth to the first self-portraits? Oh, Dayeanne immediately.
Oh, wait, sorry. Daguerreotypes.
It is daguerreotype, a reference to the first time you use Max's rewind ability. This is in Jefferson's class.
I remember that because I auditioned with that line, because I auditioned for Kate, Victoria, and Max And so I like read lines for all of them. So I like always remember that line.
Thinking about auditions and going all the way back there, I remember reading for Nathan with my coach, Mick Wingert. And he was like, you got to go for it, man. You got to really go. Cause it was the bathroom scene that we had with Ash. That was really, turned into be a big pivotal moment in the game for Max to find out about her powers and to, start that action forward. And that was, we were talking about earlier, recording together. I remember we got to do that together in the booth with Phil on day one. And that's when, and they had these cameras set up for us, like locking in our face. And that was so long ago. And it was also really one of my it was the first video game I'd ever done. And it was one, and I'd only just gotten into voiceover. And this was one of my very first jobs. So, I show up.
Good gig.
So
good
sweet.
First video game, my God.
Wow. Totally right. I didn't really know much of anything. And I remember Ash and I were sitting in the waiting room while Hannah was recording. And I'm like, so do you do this often? Like, what's like, is this how this works? Do we just stay here and then try to get another job? You were so cool. You were so cool, Ash. I remember you're like, yeah, I do some. And then when we got to record together, it was so fun. I remember how fun it was. I'm like, this is the best job ever. I don't want to stop. And gosh, that was, think back to that was really neat. To think that we got to do that together, I think made it all the more special, and not even realizing you were saying that you hadn't had a chance to do that before. And so to get to do that on the first time and to have such a lasting impact is really neat.
Yeah, really wild. And I had also forgotten, because when Dayeanne said she auditioned for multiple characters, I think I auditioned for Chloe, Max, and Victoria, which is also weird that like those are parallel timelines. That like, what if I had gotten cast as Victoria instead or whatever? You know what I mean? It's just wild how things end up working out.
Hannah, was this a pretty pivotal part for you? Getting Max?
Yeah, definitely. This was my first. I had done one video game before, but it was just motion capture and voice. This was my first voice only role, and there was a big learning curve for me, of course, but it was a really awesome experience, and I think that's where like the dual recordings really came in handy for me. Getting to act with another person was so helpful, and it really made it more real. And because a lot of times when you're doing voices, you're sort of just staring at the mic, and so it was in that way it was a big relief. But it was a big challenge, and an all time the best job I've ever had, probably the best job I'll ever have. And I'm pretty stoked about it.
You nailed it. The game wouldn't be what it was without you as Max. 100%. I believe that.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
For sure.
And I'm really glad that you were all talking a bit about what it was like doing these lines for the first time, because we're going to have you do some of them again. Sorry to spring that on you, but I think you all have some of the dialogue with you if you want to open it up, and we're going to hear you bring these characters back to life one more time.
I feel like I have an advantage just because I've been asked to stream this game so many times. I've heard it a lot. So if you guys are off, I'll let you know.
Thank you.
Great.
Please keep us in line.
Well, it's great that Dayeanne is going to be here to help you with your cadence and delivery, but we also have someone else very near and dear to the voice performances in Life is Strange, who's been waiting in the wings, a silent guardian, who's going to come in now to be here for you in your time of need. And that is the voiceover director, Philip Bache. You directed the VO in Life is Strange. That's a pretty important part in it all, I imagine.
I like to think so. I like to.
Definitely is.
Well, I want to give a little backstory to how this works. Like, well, actually, Phil can do it, but the reality is, like, we don't get all the lines. So half the time, you're going in there blind. You have no clue what it is you're saying, unless you've got a good director like Phil, who's going, okay, let me give you a little backstory as to what's going on here, and he sets the scene for you, and then, sorry, you can tell that.
No, you got it. I think for me, it's surprisingly, I actually go in a bit blind also. Like, I think the reason why I'm able to do what I do is because I have a writing background. Like, even whenever I was in high school, I was working at a movie theater, and all the money that I earned, I spent on buying books on writing, directing, producing. So, like, by the time I even got to community college and college, I already owned 30 books on writing. So what happens is I'm able to see the arc before it happens, and I kind of know where things are going.
And Phil, in terms of getting inside of the story, do you feel like you also need to get inside of each character's head to be able to impart that to them?
I think the biggest thing for me on this game was, and this is something for the cast, and what they did so amazing is, for me, the performances in Life is Strange are just as good as, if not better than, most feature film and television. And that a lot of that's because of the cast. And at times with no context, at times never seen the script before. Like, that's why I think voice actors as a whole usually have a tendency of being some of the greatest actors. Because it's easy to be Batman when you're working against Michael Caine, and there's the Batmobile, and there's I'm in the Batcave. Like, production designers made this. It's like, it's not hard to be Batman. It's another thing to be in a sound booth void of sound, sometimes without another actor to work off of. Like, and again, that's where the whole Life is Strange cast did very, 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 very well.
Yeah, it's very much, as an outsider looking in, feels like a lightning in a bottle situation where all these right elements, the cast, the writing, the team behind it, all came together to create something really, really special. Let's see if you guys can do it again, though. Phil is the key to this puzzle. And Phil, please don't hold back. You know, if
I'm nervous now. I'm nervous.
Please.
I'll just direct like this.
Please. I love it.
And
Please,
you can
please
watch
don't
his
hold back.
face. You can watch his face where he goes, all of a sudden he starts to get itchy.
First up, we've got Max and Chloe are talking about breaking into David's garage to fix her camera.
Not everything changes, except my camera has officially taken a shit.
Well, my step douche has a boatload of tools. Maybe you could fix it at my place.
You need very specific tiny tools.
Nerd alert. My stepdad has a fully stocked garage, and he actually is a tiny tool. Welcome home, Max.
It's like listening to it at the gate. I'm like, that all sounds like gold.
Personally, I really felt the nerd alert. You know, I felt like I felt like that was directed at me.
It was. I was specifically targeting
the
you.
The next scene, I believe, is Max has stayed over at Chloe's, and Chloe's given her some clothes to wear. So now Max is doing a little spin.
Whoa, looking sick, Max? Couple tats and piercings, and we'll make a thrasher out of you yet.
Ready for the mosh pit, Shaka Bra.
Okay, maybe not. Go on down and say hi to Joyce. Free breakfast. I have to wake and bake first.
So I think this was gold again.
It was good. It was very gold. They've been put through the ringer. All these actors have been put through the ringer. Like
I felt the Shaka Bro.
The Shaka Bro.
I got
especially
excited,
because
but I knew that was
she did.
coming.
It felt like she didn't know how to properly use it, and that went through.
I love hearing the cast and some of the things that they bring with them to the role, like from themselves, you know, like from everybody. I think that's why the game also works, is, again, the actors. So I can't beat up on the performances too much.
Maybe for this next one, we're bringing in Nick now to
I
do the
got
scene
him.
where
I'll beat him up.
where-
I'll beat up Nick.
This is a really pivotal scene because it gets flashbacks so much throughout the game. It's Nathan and Chloe in the restroom doing their deal. Phil, do you have any advice in advance that you want to impart?
Yeah, Nick, try acting better than you golf.
Okay, that'll be easy.
Me and Nick play part 3 on occasion, and he usually kicks my butt.
Well, you don't make it
All
very
right.
difficult to win.
Nick and Ashley, use it.
Golf.
Golf. So, what do you want?
I hope you checked the perimeter, as my step-ass would say. Now, let's talk business.
I got nothing for you.
Wrong. You got hella cash.
That's my family, not me.
Oh, boo-hoo, poor little rich kid. I know you've been dumping drugs and shit to kids around here, and I bet your respectable family would help me out if I went to them. Man, I can see the headlines now.
I actually don't know how to read,
Bang!
so...
Let's see if we can keep it up. Next up, we've got Nick and Hannah reading. I think this is the first introduction scene between Nathan Prescott and Max. So whenever you're ready.
Oh, Max Caulfield, right? You're one of the Jefferson photo groupies.
I'm one of his students.
What the fuck ever. I know you like to take pictures, especially when you're hiding out in the bathrooms. You best tell me what you saw. Now.
What are you talking about?
I know you're new here, but don't even play stupid with me.
I'm not new. I've lived here for years.
Then you should know the Prescotts rule this shithole.
I still hate him. Go.
Next scene, Kate, Marsh, and Max. This is there's the friendship between Chloe and Max in this game, but the friendship between Max and Kate is also really sweet.
Yeah, it is.
It's really fun not only listening to you guys, but getting to see the performance too.
Yeah, I really like it.
I like it
I'm
too.
really enjoying it.
I love your illustrations.
They got kind of dark there for a while, but I have an idea for a new children's book about bullying. I was thinking about having some photographs in there too.
I hope that's a subtle hint that you'll let me take the photographs for the book.
Was that subtle? You better take the pictures, Max.
Cute.
Chills.
I almost just want to
I think we
close
can
my
push
eyes.
the cuteness.
I did close my eyes at one point. Yeah.
And Dayeanne, we have another great Kate line just for you too.
Yes, this is one of my favorite lines actually, because it was one of I didn't get to be happy a lot of the time, so I really love this line. Okay,
And this is in the hospital.
I gave most of the flowers to the other patients here because they need them more than me. I'm keeping the balloons though.
Aww.
Cute.
Kate is the sweetest.
So cute.
Cinnamon bun.
To make you feel even worse for her, I would have been like, sound like you're even more out, because our heartstrings are already drawn, but like to hear somebody just like, I gave away the flower. It's like, it hurts even more. It's like, ugh.
We're going from that, and now we're upping the creep factor. So now Mark Jefferson is coming into play here.
I see you, Max Caulfield. Don't even think about leaving here until we talk about your entry. I'd never let one of photography's future stars avoid handing in her picture.
I didn't have any time. Way too much homework.
Max, you're a better photographer than a liar. Now, I know it's a drag to hear some old dude lecture you, but life won't wait for you to play catch up. You're young. The world is yours, blah, 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 right? But you do have a gift. You have the fever to take images, to frame the world only the way you envision it. Now, all you need is the courage to share your gift with others. That's what separates the artist from the amateur.
Something that Derek did so well when he was recording that I was just reminded of watching him was, it's about like knowing the tools that you have and how you can use them. So sometimes knowing where a camera is, it's like, how you can play to where the camera is. And something that Derek did was, I remember him like being on the mic, and like sometimes if he needed to be intimidating, he would kind of ride over the mic a little bit. Like he would do things on the mic that really helped the performance, like just a little bit more. I remember him doing that, which was pretty incredible to watch.
Now Derek has the hardest job of any of these performances, which is performing against yourself. Because you also play Samuel, the groundskeeper.
He did great as Samuel. He did great.
Samuel
I love him too.
It's been a while since I've done Samuel, and March Jefferson is a little bit more in like my natural range. So Samuel might take it second.
So
But
now
let's
you're
do
going
it.
to do a
Let's do it.
scene between them.
Oh no! Oh, that'll be chaos.
It has potential to be terrible. So here we go. Ready? Hey, Samuel, you're up early.
Oh, hello, Mark. I do love the early morning. Everything is so calm and quiet, and I can feel the animals waking up with me.
That's one thing I truly love about Arcadia Bay. It's all those cool animals in the forest.
The squirrels always come in the morning for food. I can hear them whisper. What animals do you see in the forest?
The usual. You know.
Hey!
Go.
That was amazing.
So good.
Thank you,
Phil's
guys.
like, I hated it. I hated it.
Yeah.
I think we'd be remiss to get through this reunion without talking about some of the big scenes, the pivotal scenes of the game. We've touched on a few, but to go about them in a more specific way, I believe that you have all been sent them to sort of rewatch and reacquaint yourself with. But I can talk you through them too. The one that I think shocked a ton of the players was the flashback scene, where Max goes back in time to when she and Chloe are teenagers and Chloe's dad is still alive. For me as a player, it was really a place I didn't think that they would go to. Ash, was that a scene that was tough for you?
I was also surprised. Like we said earlier, a lot of recording days, you'd kind of go in and, at least for Chloe, it's like, oh, we're uncovering a new Chloe trauma in this episode. But I knew, of course, from the first episode that her dad had died, but I didn't think that we would ever go all the way back. So it was surprising. But I mean, what a cool choice to make. Especially as far as like a character choice for Max of, you love this friend, you have this power, this is where everything seemed to have gone wrong. Like, why wouldn't you try? Kind of, you're young, you don't understand how that might ripple out and have horrible effects. So yeah, I really loved, I thought that was such an interesting turning point for the story of the game.
And in a game like this, where you have multiple options, story options, and endings that you can achieve, you really need a vision behind it where each of those endings can feel as powerful as the other. And I do think that obviously the ending scene of Life is Strange, where you have to make that choice, is an incredibly tough one. And they were able to build the story in such a way that it was a tough choice.
Yeah.
What did everyone end up choosing? Because I can tell you, for me, I saved Chloe. I had built this friendship with Chloe throughout the game. And
Dayeanne didn't seem to, based on how much she's flirting right now. I'm just kidding. I didn't save me either. I sacrificed Chloe.
I think I have it on my YouTube. It's me and Hannah debating for like 10 minutes at the end of the game, like which we would choose. And I saved the Bay because I was like, Chloe's asking you to do this. Like, it's like clearly fate is out to get her. If we sacrifice the town and save her, tomorrow a truck is going to run her over. Like, it's just going to keep, it's like destination or Final Destination, where it's like, it's just going to keep happening. Like, she's not supposed to be here. Like, I want to save the town. Plus, I was like, Kate is in there. I'm going to save Kate. People try to argue with me that the hospital's like not in Arcadia Bay, and I'm like, or that she left already, and I'm like, no, I'm saving Kate. Sorry.
I just feel bad for Max. Who wants to have to make that choice?
I know.
Yeah.
It's pretty rough. It's a lot of pressure.
And Hannah, choice.
Yes. Oh,
Choice.
I don't know. I think I've chosen both. I've thought about both. I don't know. It's really hard. I guess I think I would probably pick Chloe because I think that it would be just too hard to say no when she's standing right there, and it was so it was hard to record that. Like that was such a painful moment to record, and it felt so real and intense because it was like I think it might have been like one of the last times we were working on the game and working together, and it felt like this big culmination of our friendship as characters, but then also like two actresses were coming together and finishing up like a big project together. It was a really momentous feeling getting to work on that final scene.
Yeah.
But Ash, you didn't save Chloe despite.
I didn't. I mean, anytime I've been at a convention, I get asked this question, and I always hesitate to answer it because I don't want it to seem like my answer is canon or something. It's not. Yes. But for me, it's not canon. This is just my interpretation of Chloe and where Chloe's coming from. But I kind of feel like Chloe wants Max to make that choice. I don't think she would want Max to save her if it meant the town, getting destroyed. And I think Chloe's arc in the game is sort of coming to this place where she's capable of letting go and having this. And, she's scared, obviously, but that this entire experience has been her basically through her friendship with Max and this experience that they've had together, putting to bed some of her lingering traumas and resentments and just sort of being able to accept that this is what needs to happen. So for me, it is Chloe's not saying, do this, Max. She's giving Max the choice. But for me, that is what she's saying. She's saying, let me go, basically. But it's not canon. It's not canon. So if you save Chloe, it's valid. But that's just sort of my interpretation of it.
I think if I propose this question to Frank, there would be a silent third option, which is save the beans. I don't know what that guy's deal is, but from the diner to the beans to his RV stacked with beans, like, I guess I get Frank and beans. I guess it's maybe a little joke from the, but yeah, I do
play
love
that
Frank.
DLC.
I
don't play the Frank DLC.
And yeah, there's a lot of food imagery because then we also have Hawt Dawg Man, the fabled Hawt Dawg Man, and this is in the hospital. There's a little doodle on the wall. Can you explain this, Dayeanne? Do you even have some background on Hawt Dawg Man that none of us have?
No, I'm just obsessed with him. For the same reason that Samuel is one of my favorites. I'm just weird. I hook on to random little things and I make that my favorite part of something. He's just the in-game character that Max and Chloe watched on the TV growing up as kids, and I've lost my mind when I was playing Life is Strange 2 and you actually got to watch a little Hawt Dawg Man episode in the hotel room. It made my day. I'm just so happy. I look at him and I'm happy.
I have to say, but there's a second party involved, which is the mustard, which does not look happy to be squeezed onto the Hawt Dawg Man. And so I'm a bit conflicted about Hawt Dawg Man personally. Oh no, do you have the mustard? Oh,
you have the mustard. Oh my God.
Whoa. Unbelievable.
Wait, I think Dayeanne told us this when we weren't recording, but her mom made this little Hawt Dawg Man. And I'm guessing the mustard, right?
She did make
It's the cutest thing I've ever heard.
Wow.
Yeah. Yum. Together forever. Hawt Dawg and mustard.
And so that ends our Blackwell reunion with the cast of Life is Strange. Thank you all so much for doing this reunion. You're all incredible. And thank you to Square Enix for making it happen. Thank you for having me as a fan. This was surreal and just a really amazing experience to be part of. So thank you. In closing, do each of you have one word? I'll give Phil two. I think he would like the extra word. But one word that you would impart to the next generation of gamers who will be playing the Life is Strange remaster.
Enjoy.
That was also going to be mine. Enjoy.
Passion.
I would say consequence. Your decisions have major effects in the game and in life.
Selfie.
Nice.
Daguerreotype.
Yes.
Oh, that would be a good one.
Beans.
Yeah, beans.
I would say heart. I think everyone put a lot of heart into the game.
Thank you all so much again. I can't wait to play the remaster when it comes out. And I'm also excited for the Hawt Dawg Man spinoff, which we've all now officially greenlit. So there's that.
They've got merch now, so.
It's so good to see everyone and get to hang out.
So
and
good to
thanks
see
for,
all of you.
Yeah.
thanks
Hey.
for
Really
re-gluing
nice.
us together. Virtual
Yeah.
hug to you all.
Yeah.
Same. Be safe out there,
Bye.
everybody. All right.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. So good
Bye.
to see you.